The professional learning community team you will see in this video is composed of middle school teachers who will be collaboratively unpacking the 7th grade English Language Arts standards for reading. It's important that teachers work together to unpack the standards into clear, specific, student-friendly learning objectives. This is the first step that is connected to daily classroom practice. When teachers across a grade level have a common understanding of what the standards mean, then they have common expectations for what students should know, understand, and be able to do. This is how we begin a continuous cycle of improvement and raise the achievement levels of all students. Let's watch how these 7th grade teachers do that.
So we're going to start with the 7th grade ELA standards that we're responsible for teaching this year. We've already taken care of our writing standards, so we're going to focus on reading informational text standards today. We've copied the standards from the document and we've put them in a Google Doc. Did everybody get the link to that?
Yes.
Yes? So we're good with that? Awesome. I think we could do it all on paper, but I think it'd be better for us to do it all online. So we're going to work out of that Google Doc and we have a recorder. Sherry, you're going to record?
Yes.
Awesome. So after we've gone through the steps of unpacking the standards, Sherry will record the work. We're going to go back to the standards template, but before we do that, I want to take a look at the norms to make sure that everyone's comfortable with what we've already established. Did everybody get the PLC norms paper?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. So Tony, do you want to go over the
Sure.
norms for us, please?
Our first norm we have is honor start and end times, state the objective and stay focused, actively listen and participate. Do you guys have any comments on those 3 so far?
No. Straightforward.
Good on those ones, okay. Voice and respond to concerns positively and non-judgmentally, address violations of the norms, slow down to think, reflect, and puzzle about things.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's good. We've been really good about slowing down to think and go back over things this year, so hopefully we can maintain that for this PLC. Okay, guys, so to do this work, we're going to revisit the Unpacking the Standards template that we have, and it's going to basically list all the steps that we will complete to get this part done. Does everybody have that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Christine, will you walk us through this one?
Sure. So the first one we're going to focus on is RI 7.1, which is reading for informational text, which states, cite several pieces of textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly, as well as inferences drawn from the text. What I'd like us to do first would be to underline the nouns that are in the standard. Okay, what are some of the nouns that are in there?
So I see pieces of textual evidence.
Okay.
We have analysis.
Inferences?
And text.
Text.
Okay, so let's take a look at those verbs. Circle any and all verbs within the standard. What do we have?
We have cite.
We have support. So based on those verbs, what do we think, where do we think these match up with Bloom's? Do we have one for remember and understand?
I would say cite because that seems like the lowest level
Right.
that we have here so far.
Right.
So I would say cite falls under that level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then drawing inferences would probably fall under the apply and analyze.
Okay,
Definitely. And I think support would fall right along in there with that.
I agree.
Okay. So now that we have that established, why don't we start creating our student-friendly learning objectives?
And are we going with the standard Walt, we are learning to get started with this?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make sure we use that.
All right. So let's look at Bloom's and we can see maybe the first one could be along the lines of something like, okay, so list important details from the text.
And then after that, then they can start citing the several pieces of evidence.
But don't we have to back up for a minute and put in, they should be able to understand the difference between analysis and inference? Because we want to go over that first, right? To make sure that we've reviewed that.
Because they don't understand that they can get them confused or mix them up. And then they're kind of doing the whole thing for nothing. We don't want them to do that.
Exactly.
So we have define what an inference is, list important details from the text, at least 3. And then
Or
from
list at least 3 inferences from the text.
Right.
So then let's move on to evidence of student mastery. How will we know when they know it? What kind of things will we see to know that they now understand it.
And don't forget that we're starting with the we can for these, just so
Okay.
that we continue with the verbiage that we're supposed to use for the car model.
Okay, so let's go back to that first one, define what an inference is. So we can, this one would be very basic, define what an inference is, no?
Yes. Should it be something like define key terms, such as analysis, inference, and explicit?
Yes.
Should we say define in their own words or the words that they already
I like
know?
that. I
So
like
it's
in
their
their
own words. That way they have to
Yes.
use it more in their
Yes.
everyday language.
What else could we do then with compare and contrast the differences between what the text directly says
And what is inferred?
and what is inferred?
Well, we could do something that's more hands-on and text-based, which would be have them use or color code.
A graphic organizer.
You could do a
even.
graphic organizer.
Or we could even use a graphic organizer where they could highlight and plug in information that's direct from there, and then in the next column,
So it's two
make
parts.
their inferences.
Yep, that's a good one.
Okay, so let's say use a graphic organizer
Yes.
to highlight direct quotes or textual evidence. We should stick with the verbiage
Textual.
from the text and make inferences.
That's good.
Or should make inferences be its own?
See, I think it should be done in two parts.
Right. So
Yeah.
the next one would be then make inferences based on the textual
evidence provided
evidence
earlier.
that you have. Are we comfortable with closing it at that point then, or?
I think I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
All
the
right.
standard says to cite, so I think by finding it, they're doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're making the inferences, so it pretty much covers all parts of the standard.
I agree with that. Okay, so now that we're coming very close to the end of our time, our work time, we need to dive into clustering these and getting the SLOs into the correct units. So Sherry, I know that you're going to be recording and getting information
Yes.
into the Google Doc, and we will follow along and make sure that what's placed into those into the chart is correct. But let's start by looking at back at 7.1 and looking at the SLOs there and start to determine where we should put the information from cluster 7. I'm sorry, from SLO 7.1. So recall at least 3 important details from the text. So which
That'll probably best fit in Unit 1.
which is a narrative unit? I agree with that.
I think it's also important to remember that some of these SLOs will fit into more than one unit.
Right.
And I think that
And I'm sorry, and we're not including everything. We're only including the SLOs that are being explicitly taught and assessed,
right.
because we don't need to include everything for the standards.
Agreed, but I think we need to make sure that the SLOs where we know that our students have the most difficulty, we should make sure that they are found in several of our units, just to make sure that they can get enough exposure and master those by the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Sounds good.
So we're learning to recall at least 3 important details from the text.
So that could go into 1, and I would suppose it would also go into Unit 2 and 4.
Are you able to see, Tony, the edits that are being made to the document, or
Yes.
anyone who has it up?
I can see all the edits you're making on the document.
Okay?
Yep.
So I think that this is really a great way to tie all of our important SLOs and whatnot together, and creates really a nice visual
Yes.
to see. Keep everyone on track, and it's great that we could collaborate and do this together. It's been really helpful.
And it's a live document, so we can constantly go in and make modifications as needed, and we'll be able to see the changes shared real time.
Absolutely, because if a month from now we decide that this SLO number 3 doesn't belong really in Unit 2, then we could always adjust it and make modifications. And
Yeah,
A
based on
simple
what we
change,
experience in the
right.
classroom. Definitely. I feel better about understanding the information in each of these standards because, you know, once you have a chance to hash it out and look at it in great detail and talk about it, everything seems to be a lot more clear.
Right,
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
definitely beneficial to hear other people's input because you may think that something is really great and then you realize that in listening to someone else there is something that you've overlooked or not seen. So it's really been pretty awesome working together doing this.
In the video we just saw, I want to note the importance of having a viable, standards-based curriculum that is the foundation of the instructional process. Curriculum should be collaboratively developed and directly connected to daily classroom practice. If the curriculum is going to be viable, it needs to be reflected on and revised regularly by the PLC teams. Once teachers have unpacked the standards into clear, specific, student-friendly learning objectives, the hardest work is completed. The skeleton of the curriculum is established, and the teachers work together to build the rest of the pieces. The work of the teachers is captured into the unit template and in their future PLC conversations. Then the remaining pieces of the curriculum are added. These include essential questions, instructional activities and resources, and assessments. If we are to improve the learning of all students, there must be tight alignment across all pieces of the instructional process, beginning with the curriculum and continuing with formative and summative assessments and instructional experiences. Unpacking the standards collaboratively is a powerful professional learning experience that improves both teacher practice and student learning.